Welcome to everyone. We're so glad you're here. I'm still letting a few people in. This is our Professional Development Day, and we're so pleased that we have you here with us for summer 2022. This marks the official midpoint of the summer. It feels like we just started, but at the same time, here we are making excellent progress. And I'm hearing good news as you are progressing this summer. At this point in Professional Development Day, we just want to welcome you. We're going to kick it off with Donna Chapman-Williams with a welcome from her and pass it around the staff.
Hi, welcome everybody. It's good to see you all again. We are, as Amy said, just about at that midpoint. 4th of July weekend is coming up, and I know that some of you have signed up for the Potomac Cruise this weekend, which is going to be exciting. And then some of you I know are going to enjoy the fireworks this weekend, which is also going to be exciting. And then I know that also some of you have a few administrative matters that you're asking me questions about, and that leads to questions for others of you who aren't asking questions, but I'll get to all of you. Especially with the, if you're living on campus, you may have questions about your housing charge. Some of your AU students who maybe don't see the tuition charge yet. So just a couple of things like that, but I'm getting to those. Any other questions too, just feel free to ask me questions about anything that's, still lingering out there. And then transcripts are coming up at the end of the summer. So just, pay attention to your email and, we'll be getting to some of those administrative matters. But I will pass this off to, I guess, to Adam.
Or Terrell.
It's Terrell, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again. I hope you're having a great summer in DC. I don't get to work with you very much, but I'm excited to be with you today to talk about elevator pitches in a little while. So nice to see you.
And don't forget, if you are interested in doing a future semester with us, particularly if you're from a partner school, Terrell would love to have that conversation with you. We would love to have a conversation with you. I'm going to spoil the surprise and tell you that you're likely to get into the program. And so we'd love to have you for another semester.
Yeah, please email me if that is something that you're thinking about. I'd be happy to talk to you and let you know who your rep is at your school, who you should talk to there. So my email is very easy, taustin@american.edu.
All right, Emily.
Hi, everyone. I really don't work with you all that much either, but I guess follow us on social media if you haven't already, and always feel free to share any photos or parts of your experience over the summer with us, and we would love to feature that in our social media or any other communications we send out to partners or prospective students.
And we now have a new academic advisor who just joined our unit this week. And so you might have some interaction with her at the end of the summer. And if you come back and join us for the fall. So Camila Alway, Camila, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. So like Adam said, I am the new academic advisor. It is very nice to meet all of you here virtually today. I just recently started this week, so I am catching up to speed on everything. But it is very nice to meet you. And if you ever have any questions or need anything, please feel free to reach out. I can't wait to get to know you guys. So it's very nice to see you today.
Good.
One last housekeeping thing as we dive in, know that I did email today the link to the latest schedule for Professional Development Day. So do crack that open, take a look at the link. You'll see we have a very well-rounded overview of how to be an effective intern, beginning with our session with Adam Anthony. We'll also then hear from Michael Hayes, an alum of Washington Semester who currently works in the State Department. Following that, we're going to have AU grad schools give you tips on admissions, on how to leverage scholarships, how to get into schools, and identify financial aid, among other topics. But we're going to also have a couple career development activities sprinkled in there as well. We'll begin our session with Adam Anthony's session on how to intern like a pro. Over to you, Adam.
Good. Thank you, Amy. And I'm so glad you all joined us today. And I think during orientation, I mentioned that it was really important that you check your email. And I think I heard twice just in the last 5 minutes where people were saying, check your email. So please stay on top of your AU email, because that's the way we're able to communicate with you. Okay, so I have a presentation. I'm going to be talking a lot at you, and I apologize for that. It is not a very interactive presentation, but it's full of information that's going to help you today, tomorrow, your internship, the next time you are engaging with people in your internship. And so, it is not the kind of thing that you will typically hear at your home school. Maybe if you dig in with your career center, they might have something on how to actually succeed in your internship. And so this is very specific information based on a lot of experience that we have had with students here at AU, and then previously that I had in my other role at William & Mary, students navigating the workplace as an intern. And so I think it's going to give you some very practical, some very specific things to do that you can start doing tomorrow. Okay, and so, you all have my email address, so do not hesitate. I'm going to send this presentation out to you in PDF form. And so you're, of course, welcome to take notes. I will have a little bit of time for questions at the end, I think, but please send me emails with questions. I'm here waiting for your emails. Now I'm waiting for your emails, and I'm happy to take all questions, and particularly situations. Your faculty member is the first person to go to. If you've got a general question or whatever, they will elevate things to Amy and then maybe to me. But just specific questions about this presentation, I'm happy. I'll bring in your faculty member in the conversation, and we'll help you work things out. That's what we're here for. That's one of the reasons why you're doing this program, is to have this support to help you resolve problems with your internship. All right, so I want to start off. I'm a big fan of Rome, Greece and Rome, actually, ancient Greece and Rome, and big fan of Julius Caesar, not for the fascistic parts of him, but he was actually a very thoughtful writer and had a lot of interesting ideas. Besides the part about taking over as a dictator for the Roman Empire. And he said something that I thought was very interesting: experience is the teacher of all things. And I think that's a great reflection about what you're doing this summer, that this is a different kind of program and a different kind of summer. And your internship in DC, you're learning different things, and hopefully it's the kind of things that are going to help you progress in a career, that you're happy with, and find success and find fulfillment. And so I love this quote. I think about it all the time, that sometimes the only way to learn is to do. And so that's something I thought you would be helpful to reflect on. All right, so as a preview, I'm going to give you advice on 5 topics. The first is the importance of developing relationships in the workplace. The second is the concept of paying your dues in the workplace. The third is on professionalism. The fourth is on engaging with your assignments. And the last is managing your schedule. And so again, very practical advice that you can use tomorrow and throughout the summer and in future internships that are going to help you be your colleagues will value you, and your supervisor will value you, and you will stand out in your workplace. All right, so the first concept of developing relationships is something that I don't think many people talk to students about when they do an internship. So some things that you're dealing with. In DC, there is a long culture of undergraduate interns. A lot of people say that the Washington Semester Program, which started student internships in the mid-60s, really started the Washington, D.C. Internship culture. And, but suffice it to say that everybody in Washington has been an intern. And so that's great. It's also an issue for you because it a lot of times leads to objectification. We have had students who their colleagues have called them the intern. Instead of calling them by their given name, they've said, hey, why don't we give this to the intern? And that's not good. That's not a good thing to have happen. And it's not what we like to have for it to happen to you. But understand that the issue is that there has been an intern in your desk last summer and last fall and last spring, and there will be somebody in the future. And so a lot of times students end up falling into a bit of a trap. Also, interns you're just going to be here for a couple more weeks. And I don't have to really get to know you as a person or get to really understand what you want and what your goals are, because you're going to be gone. And that's just a fact. And it is something that you need to deal with. And I'm going to give you advice on how to deal with it. Also understand that there are structural barriers to you in an organization. There might be a unit in your organization that is a partner unit of yours, and they might be doing great work that you're really interested in. And there's maybe territorialism, and your supervisor doesn't want you doing that work because your supervisor wants you available to support his or her project. And so, so again, this is a problem that you might or might not face, but the key is, for me, that your ability to develop relationships in the workplace can help with all of these objections, all of these barriers. What it allows you to do when you get to know your supervisor and get to know your colleagues on a professional level, it allows them to customize your internship experience. And here at American University in the Washington Semester Program, we believe that the supervisor is a bit of an instructor in your experience on how you're learning in the workplace. And it's why we include your evaluation into the syllabus and into the grading, because your supervisor has a role in instructing you on professionalism. And so when you connect with them and when you connect with your colleagues, it allows you to break down these barriers and to provide you more of what you need and what you want in your internship. So I'll explain all of this. Also, a connection allows you to find out information about this field that you can't find anywhere else. And so you're in your internship now and you're evaluating whether this is a field you want to enter after you graduate. And when you engage with your colleagues and your supervisor in person as a person, they're able to instruct you on things that you might or might not like about the field that you're in. And you might find out things that this is your dream field. This is amazing. This has been such a revelation to me. This is what I was meant to do. Or, you know what? I don't like anything about this field. Both of those outcomes are pretty good. And when you're able to connect with it at a human level, that is a benefit that you'll be able to derive. All right, so how do you do that? How do you connect with your colleagues? So the planned activities that your organization is doing, the lunch, happy hour, birthday parties, some of them might be virtual, some of them might be in person. That is a great way to connect with people. You can look at it as forced fun, which sometimes it is, but you can also look at it as an opportunity to have conversations with work colleagues that happen very naturally. I distinctly remember when I was an intern a long time ago, I was really interested in working for political campaigns. That was my focus. And I was working, doing research for an organization that was fine. I liked the job, but there were a lot of former campaign people there. And I remember meeting one over lunch and starting to talk to him about campaign stuff. I knew he had worked on a presidential campaign 4 years before. And I ended up getting a job and going to Iowa and working for him based on a conversation over lunch, over pizza. And so I'm really glad that I had that conversation with that person, because it really enabled me to find something that I was truly passionate about. So those planned activities, they're all awkward, especially for you, because you don't know the folks and you don't really know the story. But at the end of the day, if you go and you're able to have a conversation with somebody about something, it gets them to know you on a human level, and it might help you get to know them and make decisions about whether this organization is the right organization for you or the field is the right field for you. So my message is, they might feel like they're optional, but if you really want to take advantage of this internship, those things are not optional. And also, students will often say, well, I'm 19 years old, I can't go to the happy hour. You definitely can go and just not drink, and just drink water, and or if it's they mark your hand and you can't order anything, that problem students have been facing that for many, many years. And so you can go to the happy hour, you just don't drink, and it works out. A lot of times we're connecting with our colleagues over Zoom, and there's always at the start that awkward 3 or 4 minutes when people are signing on, or people are late, who are we working for, or sometimes it's just you and another person, you're waiting for a third person. That is a good time to be able to just chit chat. What'd you do this weekend? Oh, I went and saw DC United play. Oh my gosh, I'm a soccer fan too. That's amazing. Yeah. I went to the Women's World Cup a couple of years ago, and I did actually. I'm a big women's soccer fan, and that gets an opportunity for you to be able to connect with somebody on an issue of common interest. And especially if you remember it, it's a great way to just make an authentic connection. I'm not talking about like being all, plotty and saying, oh, I'm going to be in a meeting with so-and-so and I'm going to, find a way to connect with them because I want to get ahead. I'm just talking about just general human connection. And I'm going to give you some ideas on how to do that. I do this from time to time. I will send this out to our group, and other people will too. Did you see this? We run academic programs for students, and the news came out that Johns Hopkins, another university that does it, runs a program for high school students. They ended up canceling programs for, I think, like 800 students this summer. And it was some cases, the students were flying to their destination, and Hopkins ended up canceling the program. And so I sent that out to our group yesterday. And so I thought it was an interesting discussion point. And I don't know if people had seen it or not. And we had a brief discussion about it. That kind of thing is really welcome. Also, if you connect with somebody and you know that they're a women's soccer fan, the US women's team played last night. I DVR'd it, so let's not talk about what happened because I haven't seen the game yet. But it might be an opportunity. If you're a soccer fan, it might be a great opportunity to just connect with somebody and say, hey, did you watch that match last night? That was amazing. And, blah, 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 blah. And then finally, if you feel like you have connected with somebody and it's an authentic connection, it's totally appropriate to ask for a coffee, a virtual coffee, or an actual coffee if you're in person, to ask them for more information. The person that I met back when I was an intern, I did follow up with him. I went by his office and we didn't have a coffee, but I just said, do you have a little bit of time? We can talk about what being in the campaign is like. And I'm really glad I did it, because when he went to the campaign and then the position opened, he thought about me immediately. And so it's totally appropriate. And if your coworker has a beating human heart in their chest, they will say yes. If you say, do you think there's some time, maybe, on a Friday where we could just talk for a half hour, I could get your career advice? No human in the world is going to say no to that. And it feels awkward to do, but chances are they did it themselves, and they also have done it with other interns. And people love to give advice. And you'll find out things about the organization, about them, about the field that you would never have known, you couldn't Google. So totally appropriate to do it. I really encourage you to do it. Okay, so that's the connection point. I have a little, this is a little interactive thing. This is my desk at work, and I want you to pretend that you have come in to talk to me about an assignment. And I have 5 conversation starters here in my desk area. And I want you to you can just unmute yourself and just shout it out. What's a conversation starter that you could see that we could connect with? There's at least 5.
I mean, the very first 2 that are the most obvious to me is the LGBT flag, and then you have a picture of children. So the very first thing that I would do is I would talk about your children first.
There you go, Andrew. That's great. All right, Alice, you raised your hand. Do you have another one?
Hey, that's a really cool soccer ball. Do you like women in sports?
Thank you. Excellent. All right, there are definitely 2 more. They're a little more subtle.
Do you want to get coffee?
Yeah, well, look, what's in the lower left corner there of the screen?
Well, a coffee mug.
Coffee mug. I'm crazy about coffee. And so if you were too, that is definitively a way that we could connect. And it'd be a great way to say, listen, I would love for you to, I would love to get your career advice. I'm crazy about coffee. Do you think we could go sometime? All right, there's one more, and it's super subtle, and you might not appreciate it, but
Ours? Like I see the key.
Keys. Every person in Washington loves to talk about their commute, loves it. And here I have to drive, and I had to park, and I got stuck on the BW Parkway, and it was so terrible. And so great with COVID, the one good thing about COVID is there's no more blah, 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 traffic. And so you're commuting to your internship. Chances are you have a better commute than most people. And so that is a way to connect with people. It is a universal way to connect with people. So again, I'm not talking about like making fake friends here. I'm not talking about you buttering somebody up or brown nosing somebody. I'm just talking about connections that you can make. And when you make these connections, it allows people to see you as a person and as, standing out again from this intern culture. And it allows you to get to the point where you can really maximize this educational experience with your internship. It is not automatic, but this is a method that you can use to connect. And especially now, especially when we're remote or, where people are people haven't been connecting in a long time. So this kind of connection can really be helpful to you. All right, so I think I made that pretty clear. The important thing is I can tell you is if you were able to make one connection, one professional connection for this internship this summer, then you'll have done better than most people. So don't feel like you gotta, generate 500 connections. If you can connect with one person, and that could be your supervisor, that allows you to maybe get a recommendation for the future or a connection for another job or something, then you'll have succeeded. So don't feel like this is an onerous task. All right, I want to talk about the concept of paying your dues. This is, again, related to the DC internship culture. There is definitely an ethic where people feel like, especially people who have been an intern in the past, feel like that interns have to pay their dues. And what it means is that there are people who think that the intern should know their place and should be comfortable being at the bottom of the pecking order, and the bottom of the hierarchy. And needless to say, you can already tell in my voice that I think that's all a bunch of nonsense, but understand that that is out there. And so the bottom line is what it really means is how willing are you to do what needs to be done in the office, and what the organization needs from you. And also, it's related to respect. I'm going to give you another soccer example. As you can tell, soccer is near and dear to my heart. I'm not a very good player. I'm a very good fan, but not a very good player. And I played in the men's league for about 5 years, and I was the worst player on the field, and I knew it, and everybody knew it. So when that ball would roll out and go past the goal and go into the woods, I would gladly go get it. Or if someone needed to sub out and I was on the field, I wanted to sub in and play, I would sub myself out. And so what it meant was that I was willing to do what needed to be done for the good of the game and good of the team. And I'm not telling you that you have to do that, but it was important to me to get the respect of my colleagues. So that's the operating principle here. People are looking to see what you as a newcomer can do to gain the respect of your colleagues in the organization. So I'm going to tell you a story about an intern that I had when I was at William & Mary, who was one of the best interns I've ever had. And she was helping me start the core study in Washington program for William & Mary. And I was worried about a great deal of things. I had a whole list of things that I had to set up for our students. And our faculty member asked about library access. And it was number 30 out of 30 things that I was thinking about. And so we brought it up during a meeting, and she said, oh, you know, I worked at the library on campus, and I know all about the ILL process. And I went, ILL process? And it turns out every university has one. And you can work through Kogod, our library, to reach out to your homeschool library and order a book. And your homeschool library will stick it in the mail and deliver it to our library, and then you can pick it up at our library. And that exists for every university. And it was, again, number 30 out of 30. She said, you know what I'll do is I'll put together a fact sheet for the students on this process. And I said, great. And so 2 days later, she came back with a fact sheet. This is the AU's fact sheet. This is obviously at William & Mary, but it was perfect. And I took exactly what she did and I put it on her website, and it solved a problem for me that was very low priority. But what it did do was connect us, show me her enthusiasm for the position, but also I trusted her because she did a wonderful job on the assignment. I literally took exactly what she wrote and put it on the website. I edited it, of course, I looked at it, but she gained my respect through that one process. It was not a glamorous thing. It was like going in the woods to fish out the soccer ball, but she gained my respect and showed her capacity. So my advice to you is, you know, you might have to go make copies and or go get coffee. And that's the reality of being an intern. It should not be a large or even a medium-sized percentage of what you're doing. It should be a small percentage of what you're doing. But when you go make copies for somebody and you do a good job and you do it quickly, and it's a little thing, but it gains the respect of your supervisor or the person you're doing it for. So my advice to you is to find your ILL-like project. Find something that you can do that will create, you know, this increased opportunity for you to gain respect from your colleagues. Okay, so developing relationships, gaining the respect of your colleagues. A very important part to understand about internship culture in DC is the lack of professionalism from many students in the field. There is a pretty good chance that the person who occupied your desk before you was not very professional. and the person who occupied your desk after you might not have been that professional. Our students, we just don't have that problem at all. We truly don't. You really, when you come into this program, you really represent for your school, for AU, for the program. But there are many places just students have not had the motivation, or they're interested in the social aspects of being in Washington and not in getting ahead. So, so that's important for you to know, because people are expecting the worst from you. The great news is when they don't get it, the worst from you, then they're going to be really pleased. It's actually called the halo effect and the reverse halo effect. And so when you don't show up to work hungover and and fall asleep at your desk, all of a sudden you must be great. And when you show the skills that you have in terms of writing and research and networking and showing interest and connecting, then all of a sudden that you're boosted way above the intern who was at your desk the previous summer. So here are some specific pieces of advice I can give you in terms of professionalism. Dressing is a very loaded topic. I'm not going to pretend to give anybody advice about clothes to wear. The only thing I can say is when you're in the office, you've already, chances are, if you're going to be in the office, you've already been there. Just look around and try to dress a little bit more conservatively than your colleagues, and you'll be in good shape. You'll notice I've got a fake background back here. I'll either fake it or blur it. I think that is a more professional look than having your background just be your apartment or your messy bedroom or whatever. It doesn't really matter, but it sort of does. I will try and blur whenever possible, even with my colleagues. Sometimes I forget, but it's just a good look. One thing I can recommend to you, you're going to hear and you'll be involved with gossip, and just don't participate in it at all. There's nothing good that comes from it. If you're in a meeting where people are gossiping, just listen and don't say a word. It's a bad form, and it can definitely get you in trouble. Remember that as close as you are with people in the office and you get to be, remember that you're not with your friends, and you are, there is just an expectation of a level of professionalism there that transcends, that, permeates the workplace. So remember that to use language and to approach people, not in a way that you would with your friends or your siblings or whatever. There is a thing that has developed over the last 3 years, which is showing up to Zoom sessions on time. And at least at AU, I think we are pretty good. And in our unit, we're very good at starting when we need to start. And so it's my advice to you to keep a great calendar and make sure you're on time for all presentations, all conversations. I actually try to get on early, and then it's an opportunity to chit chat with somebody. That's a great opportunity to ask somebody for coffee. Get on 2 minutes before, and that person might be on the call, and that's a great opportunity to connect. Your job is to learn in this internship, and to decide, your number one job is to decide if this is a job for you, permanent job, or this field is for you. So keep your eyes and ears open. Lots of people, I'm guilty of doing it. If a part of a meeting turns away from what I'm interested in or what I need to worry about, I definitely start doing work. It's a bad habit of mine. I will listen with half an ear, but I won't listen. I won't be fully present. And it's my advice to you to be fully present during these meetings, because every meeting, every conversation is a learning opportunity for you, with one question in mind: is this the field for you? And you might hear something that might mean this organization really is fantastic, or you might hear something to say, this is just not right. And both of those things you'll miss if you're, answering emails. Try and keep great notes on important meetings. chances are going to be invited into meetings, whether in person or online, and you're not going to have much of a role. So take notes. It's a great way to occupy yourself. And I think you can learn more when you write, and you'll hear acronyms, and you'll hear this acronym 5 times. And if you write it down, then you can go afterwards and Google it and say, what is that all about? And it's a learning opportunity for you. So as much as possible, especially if you don't have a role, just take notes on things. It's really important for me as a supervisor, when I have an intern or a grad assistant, that they're not struggling in the dark. And I am super open to helping our interns or our grad assistants because I don't want them to waste their time. We don't have the capacity to have time wasted. I'd rather they ask me and I could solve their problem in 10 seconds, as long as they've tried to solve it. Don't call up your supervisor and ask them for directions. Google the directions. But if you've got something that they give you on an assignment, ask them for their help so that you're not struggling in the dark. It's important, and I think particularly over Zoom, it's very easy to do, but make sure you're not interrupting somebody. I will always, if I do it by accident, I will always say, please go ahead. Please, I'm very sorry. It happens all the time. And so it's just a little common thing, but it is a big part of professionalism. All right, so I've got a few minutes left here, and I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, but this is my advice to you on how to deal with an assignment. It is very important that you are able to engage with your supervisor on a series of levels, that you have an open and communicative relationship with them, and that when they give you assignments, that you're able to process them. And so it is not an exaggeration to say that the constructive relationship you have with your supervisor will contribute to the success as an intern. They are literally going to fill out an assignment at the end of the summer that's going to factor into your grade. That's obviously important, but also your ability to learn from them in the future, to use them as a reference, that's going to be affected by that as well. And so the more professionally you engage with them, the more seriously you're going to be taken, and the chances are the better your relationship you're going to have. So a couple things. When you get an assignment, definitely take interest in it. You're there to learn, right? And so the young woman who was my intern, who took interest in the ILL project, she really took interest in it, and it couldn't be less of an interesting topic than interlibrary loans, but she took it seriously, and I really appreciate it, such that I remembered it 20 years later. Communicate with your supervisor on progress about things. Like I was saying before, if you're stuck on an assignment, then your supervisor needs to know that, and they might help get you unstuck, but be communicative on that topic. Determine if they're open to that, obviously, but try and be communicative. It is fine to ask for feedback on how you've done on an assignment. And you can simply say the phrase, is this helpful? Or are you happy with this? Or did I get this right? And that kind of feedback is valuable, very valuable to you. And it will help me form an impression about you. Things might be messy, the situation's messy, and I ask you for this assignment, I don't really know what I want, and you give me something, and then you say, is this what you were looking for? And I'll say, yeah, you know what, this is exactly what I was looking for, so thank you very much. That's great feedback for you. That's an A on an assignment. So within reason, do what they ask you to do. You're not going to do anything that's objectionable. You're not going to do anything that is contra to your values. If they do ask you to do that, that is the opportunity for you to connect with your faculty member and or us. But if they ask you to do something, do it and do a good job. That's, I think, the bottom line. A lot of times they're not going to ask you for things. And so keep your eyes open and suggest things for yourself. Hey, would it be helpful if I did this? Would it be helpful if I did that? When you see your supervisor sweating, metaphorically sweating, that is a great opportunity to ask how you can be helpful. I was definitely sweating over the fact that I had not done anything on the ILL, and I was not going to because I had 29 other priorities. And the student stepped in, she saw me sweating over that, and the intern, and she did it. And so that kind of help, that kind of situation can really earn the gratitude of your supervisor. Oh my God, thank you so much. Yes. Can I please hand this over to you? I cannot get to it. Sure, absolutely. I know it's not glamorous, but I'm happy to help. That's the fantastic element of attitude. And I will guarantee you that when my boss says, how's the intern doing? I'll say, well, the intern's name is Jane. First off, please don't call her the intern. I won't say that. But what I will say is they're doing great. They really are stepping up and helping me get things off my plate. And so I really appreciate they've got a great attitude. All right, so now specifically, you get an assignment from your supervisor, and this is my suggestion on how you deal with it. So you get the assignment on a Monday, and do not leave that room without every detail that you can possibly think of about the assignment. And also you have to get the deadline. If they do not if they do not mention the deadline, then you have to ask, when is this due? I don't know why but it's happened to me where people said, I need you to do this. And then the whole conversation, okay, goodbye. And I'll be like, when is it due? When do you need this? So you cannot get an assignment without asking for a deadline. On Tuesday, send a brief note to your supervisor. And this is your opportunity to ask any follow-up questions. I got to do a little work on this and I'm on track, or I got to do a little work on this. Do you want this or that? How do you want it? Do you want it in Excel? Do you want it in Word? That kind of thing. You really only get one chance to do that though. On Thursday, contact them again and say, I'm on track for Friday morning. And then Thursday evening, you're actually going to finish it and you're going to send it to them. And you're going to say, here it is, I'm happy to discuss. And what you've done is what Amazon does, which is called under promise and over deliver. And so Amazon always tells you you're going to get something on Friday, and then you get it on Wednesday and you're like, Amazon. Well, that's what you're going to do to your supervisor. You're going to tell them you're going to get it to them on Friday, and you're actually going to get it to them on Thursday evening. And so you've bought them 12 hours to be able to look at it and process it. And then on Friday, you're going to say, is that what you wanted? Is this what does this work for you? And that's an opportunity for them to say, yes, thank you so much. It's exactly what I wanted. And by the way, thank you for buying me 12 hours. So again, this does not apply to every assignment. Sometimes you're going to have to turn it around in 12 hours, 6 hours, 2 hours. But this process of communication is the most efficient in terms of time efficiency, and then with a cross of that of value. You're not asking them a ton of questions, you're asking them the right kinds of questions, and you're feedbacking them so that they can be confident that they're going to get it on Friday when they need it. And it's going to show up the way they want it to show up. So if you need to take parts of this, take it, but just this is the way I like to proceed. And if you proceed this way, you will really impress your supervisor.
And Adam, I just want to salute you on these great comments while I also let you know that our auspicious alum, Michael Hayes, has arrived.
All right.
He has a hard stop at 2. So
all right. Well, I'm going to send the rest of this to you. There's some very specific advice that you can do in terms of managing your remote schedule. And I'm going to stop share and I'm going to hand things back to you, Amy.
Thanks so much, Adam. Terrific advice. It always rejuvenates me to step back and think about the big picture of what means success, even for those who've been in the workplace for decades. Really appreciate those insights.